Hey, everybody, how are you? Welcome to Into the Core podcast with myself, Linda. It is so exciting to be back. I am really excited about my guest today. She's an amazing entrepreneur. What she's doing here in Kenya is absolutely, it's mind-blowing. And I can't wait to introduce her to you. At the moment, I think one of the main things that we're going to be talking about is about creating your own product, especially if you haven't built your own. But before we dive into that, let's get into the core.
Into the core.
Get into it.
All good things in Africa and beyond. Into the core.
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 All good things in Africa and beyond.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing our sponsor and who is powering this conversation. It is FedEx and taking you all around the world with FedEx. Thank you so much to FedEx who are powering this conversation. Neha, welcome to Into the Core podcast.
Thank you so much, Linda. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. It's so funny. And I'm just giving like a really cool synopsis. So Neha and I were in this beautiful meeting on Monday, and brought together by a fantastic, fabulous woman, an entrepreneur of all kinds, Anna Trubinsky. And we're all sitting down and we're had these powerful conversations. And then Neha and I are in the middle of, oh, hey, let's exchange numbers. Yeah, we're definitely keeping in touch. And she's like, hey, Linda, I have you saved as Linda Yummy Mummy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, clicked. And so we're in this beautiful WhatsApp group earlier in our motherhood phase. And Neha was there, but it's very interesting how a beautiful company that was born out of just a single question, I feel. But you're going to tell us the real story, because for me, it clicked when you were asking about deodorant. And then there is the Natural Moms Company formed. So talk to me about how, the name of her company is the Natural Moms Company, and how that came about. So you want to start at the beginning.
Okay, so I think that was probably the beginning where I was pregnant with my first son, and I was on the hunt. So all of a sudden, when I got pregnant, I was looking at ways to improve my health, and I stumbled across vast pieces of information that really changed my perspective in life on what I was basically absorbing. And what I, found out was that, well, my first level of awareness came to me when I found out that, first of all, your skin is one of your largest organs. And actually it absorbs everything you put it in just as good as the food that you eat. And that was just mind blowing to me, because at that point we were so used to in our lives using, normal products, antiperspirants, and I kind of became really conscious of then what I was absorbing onto my skin, and I went out on a hunt to look for natural products. And I was privileged enough to have both my pregnancies, both my sons being born in the UK. And even then, I was on the hunt for natural products. And I could not, believe it or not, at that time, which was at least 9 years ago, find any natural deodorants or any natural skincare products that I could actually just understand the ingredient list of.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when I came to Kenya, obviously I thought, oh, there might be something here, but there was nothing again. And I was quite concerned about, my journey, because I chose to, nurse both my babies exclusively. And obviously, our armpit region is very sensitive to our breast region, and everything
Yeah.
that we absorb in this area automatically gets absorbed here. And actually, what I then found out was that a lot of these antiperspirants and deodorants that we used were packed with toxins that would block our pores and avoid us from sweating, prevent us from sweating, which is really a natural part of our bodies releasing its toxins. And I couldn't find anything, so that was sort of my first challenge. However, actually, the first product that I started the company with was actually a lactation tea that my grandmother used to make. And this was a yeah, so this is the beginning. So I thought I would get into food and beverage that was, foods and beverages that were safe enough for nursing and pregnant women to use. Because again, as part of this awareness, the first thing I started to do was change my diet,
Right.
and eat less sugar, and just eat healthier, more fruits and more vegetables, and kind of actually go back to the idea that if my great grandmother knows what it is I'm eating, then it's safe enough to eat, which was taking me back to, reducing a lot of the processed foods from my life, boxed foods, canned foods, all of that stuff. So as I progressed in my motherhood, I think naturally I kind of went away when I finished breastfeeding. I kind of went into this phase that I wanted to get back in touch with myself. And I've always been, generally from the days I was in school, I've always been a very sporty person. And during my pregnancy, obviously your body goes through an immense amount of changes. And I lost that connection with my body, because I would look at myself and I couldn't recognize myself. And I think a lot of
Right.
women, go through this. And I
Yeah.
just said, I need to get back into where I feel connected to myself, where my sort of soul and my physical body are back in connection with itself. So I started with the foods that I was eating. I started, with the creams that I was putting. I started with, going back to, exercising, which is a big part of me and my being.
Yeah.
And as the journey progressed, I think, postpartum struggle was a big part for me as well.
Yeah.
And I didn't go into depression, but I was in a really disconnected state in my life. And I kind of went back to a lot of the remedies that made me just feel good, putting on a face mask. Again, this was part of like rediscovering myself and, coming out of this disconnected part where I was just doing things that made me feel good. I was working out. I started looking after my skin, and I was also conscious about what I was putting on my baby's skin. I just tended to use oils and the basic natural stuff that my grandmother said, just use this. This is the best thing you can do when you're giving him a massage, and etc. etc. So actually,
Yeah.
I never used diaper rash ointment. And luckily enough, I kind of went back to these olden traditions that were taught to me in my postpartum phase by my great aunt, by my mother, by my grandmothers, on how to look after my
Wow.
body, how to nourish my body, and how to look after my baby.
Yeah.
And this knowledge I thought was so valuable. I was so grateful to feel that support system around me that came from my mother, my grandmother, my aunts, and everyone around me, that I wanted to sort of put this in a package and make it available to other women out there, something that they could trust. And
Yeah.
so naturally, as I kind of, went into this skincare and looking after my skin and putting on masks to make myself feel better and provide myself with self-love, I started then looking at the first option for me to provide a solution for myself that was not available here, which was a natural deodorant, which was such a big part of,
Yeah.
again, being organic and being toxic free, basically, for my skin.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's how the company was really born. And I wanted to provide that trust to the women out there. Because for me, when I was nursing, when I was pregnant, I was always looking for products, and I couldn't even understand the labels at the back, and that was a huge discouraging moment for me. So I've tried to simplify my ingredients. I've tried to make things as simple as possible, and to kind of bring a lot of these products back to what our ancestors used, and how they used it, and how they applied it, and
Yeah.
how they incorporated into natural tradition, and natural care for themselves.
Yeah.
So that was the basic. That's basically how the company was born.
That's amazing. And I feel like you need to share. Okay, so I'm just thinking about how many products I kept trying on my son's skin, which is so crazy because you were new into motherhood as I was, and it's like a huge, excuse me for saying, but a huge bum rush of everybody gives you a different type of way. So what I really love about your story is how it just connected with your great aunt, your grandmother, your mother, who were all just around you saying, okay, you know what? So in tradition, this is what we used to use. Stop using any of that stuff. This is a natural stuff to use. So you didn't even get to experience half the type. And this is what children go through, or young mothers, or um, um, babies, is that you end up trying a product, and because it's not naturally made, the kids end up having all these allergies, or like their skin goes through so much chemicals in them. And I want to say that exclusive of us, right? Also us. It's crazy. So I'm just glad that you got into that. And so tell me about what was the process in terms of like taking what you had learned from your grandmother and your great aunt and your mom into putting it into a package. What was that process like? The whole manufacturing space that must have been.
So yeah, so this was really interesting. In the past, over 10 years that I've been here, obviously, we live in a third world country, and being in a third world country, there's always been such a massive disparity between, I would say, the low income to the top 1%, right? And this was something that actually had a profound effect on the way I looked at life. And so one of the things that was at the basis of my motivation was to um, connect this ancient, ritualistic sort of technology, that I wanted to pass on, again, with where I'm from. And Kenya is such an incredible country, diverse in its botanicals, and I have always been passionate about the incredible botanicals that we are not even researched and discovered on our continent, and the
Yeah.
power of those botanicals. So again, I'm of Indian ethnicity, but because I was born in Kenya, my roots are here. And so what I did was basically translate what my ancestors were trying to say, was just use natural stuff. And so I started to discover what was locally available to me, and what the most amazing ingredients for sort of skin were. And I discovered those things along my journey. And so this is one of the ways that I can sort of connect my Indian sort of roots to my Kenyan roots to
Yeah.
a basic some impact that I can make in the country through the company as well,
Community.
and
Yeah.
community as well. And so we started really looking for these amazing ingredients, and I have been fortunate and privileged enough to have my formulator, who is the scientific man behind all the formulations that we do.
Yeah.
However, we work together, and I tell him that, Robert, I need to use this ingredient because I know this is incredible, and I want this kind of texture. So we sit there and we actually co-create all of our ingredients. And purple tea has been one of my base ingredients that I have used because it's one of the most unique teas in the world. It's a tea that's only grown in the highlands of Kenya,
Yeah.
and its antioxidant levels are higher than even green tea. So green tea is around 30%, purple tea is around 50%, which means it's
Wow.
great for antibacterial, anti-inflammation, sun protection. It's got a host of these incredible benefits. And I was like, wow, so let's incorporate these amazing, unique botanicals that we have access to in our country,
Yeah.
and at the same time build the vision where we can support these smallholder farming communities around Kenya, to produce organic, from the roots, just organic goods that we can then monitor and use this entire cycle to then produce a product that is completely 100% safe for pretty much anyone to use, from babies to 6 months all the way to old age. And because it's a
Yeah.
natural product, and because we use, it's the idea is to really provide a farm to skin product. And it is tailor made for everybody living on this continent. And because we're generally more exposed to the sun on this continent, all of
Yeah.
the botanicals we use have natural SPF factors, antibacterial, anti-inflammatory factors within them. So this is what we combine, and continue to research new ingredients. So the formulations are always evolving and improving as we discover new things. And so if you're living on this continent, the same concept is farm to table. The freshest food that you're growing in your shamba is the healthiest version for you. And this is what we've transpired into skincare. So we use the ingredients around us, we formulate them, and we put something on the table that is for optimal use for people living on this continent.
Wow. I think, can you talk to me about, like, okay, so when you're sourcing, is there a way that you know that you're helping a community? Do you go to companies and say, hey, because I think at the back end of every company, or like a lot of the work that we want to do, right, is we want to make sure that we're impacting society on a sustainable platform. So are you very specific about some of the companies that you pick to
So
collaborate and
initially we wanted to just work with farms that were registered under the fair trade.
mm-hmm,
Unfortunately, farms that are registered under the fair trade are uh, usually just coffee and tea farms. So
yeah,
not, the coconut farmers, not the coconut oil producers, not the hibiscus farmers, not the
mm,
cocoa butter farmers. So then we decided that we would then just have procurement done with, for example, our coconut oil comes from a small, tiny women's farming community in Mombasa that we
right,
just directly source from. And then this is how we source. Obviously, there has to be a balance between the quality of what we're sourcing to also where we're sourcing from. So sometimes we have to interchange our sourcing, our procurement process.
yeah,
But again, our ethos is to support those smaller communities who are producing the stuff,
yeah,
and try to use that as much as we can. So at least 99% of the ingredients are sourced from within the continent of Africa, number one. So it's only the preservatives that really are not actually locally available or available here at all are sourced from abroad, but everything else we try to source from any smaller holding farming communities. And because right now we're still a small company, our demands are not massive, we can sort of still support these. But essentially, the vision is to be able to actually have the demand enough to go there and say, right, I'm going to actually educate you and help you farm the coconut oil organically or the hibiscus organically, and start from the bottom side up to
Yeah.
actually put
Yeah.
together these farming communities that then have more than enough to sustain their life.
I love that. Do you want to give us a little bit of a rundown of some of the products that you have made? Because I know you said like you've got your hibiscus, you've got your coffee, you've got your teas, you've got your cocoa, shea butter. Talk to us a little bit about your product line and range.
Yeah, so I spent first 2 years just doing product development and research, and actually you can go completely crazy making products, and that was really fun. But now we've got sort of almost a three-way sector to our product list. And again, I know it says the Natural Moms Company because I was trying to kind of enter this niche market. However, because of the nature of the product, again, I said it's applicable to any gender, any color. And just before I go into the product range, there's this one massive misconception that has been marketed to people, that certain products are only usable for certain skin colors.
Mm,
Now,
yeah.
this for me was really interesting because I've had actually a lot of resistance from people that say your skin, your brand doesn't appeal to the black skinned people. And I said, but this is completely bizarre to me because it's a food. It's like telling me that I can eat a watermelon and you can't. And because
Exactly.
it's natural, it doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
anyways. So we've got the basic range of products that are for your face. We've got a day cream, we've got a night cream, we've got an eye gel, we've got a face spritz, and then we've got the fun spa products, which are like
Hmm.
our exfoliating scrub, which range from our
Yeah.
purple tea hibiscus to coffee scrub, and our face masks, which is a big part of myself, and it's also quite an ancient tradition that comes from Egypt and many other places where we use bentonite face clay mask. So we infuse it with activated charcoal, we infuse it with hibiscus, we infuse it with purple tea to have three sort of different ranges.
Hmm.
And this also appeals to people with sensitive skin, people with a little bit non-sensitive skin, people with oily skin. So I can then recommend each product for to people that have these different sort of base skin types.
Mm.
Um, and then we've got the range that is for mom and baby, that is safe for mom and baby to use. So we have got soaps that are completely safe, for a baby's first bath, which is completely toxic free and does not
Wow.
dry out your skin. So we use oils, we use cocoa butter in our soaps, shea butter. And then we have our multi-purpose mom and baby healing balm, which is this amazing healing balm which you can use for sort of sunburn, diaper rash, nipple cracking, scabs. Like I still use it on my boys when they get, scabs and rashes for whatever reason, or
Oh gosh.
sunburn on their skin. And it's
Yeah.
just my to go to. And if they've got extremely dry, cracked skin, boys, how they are, got two boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is a part of, for me, this is something that I just have put into my lifestyle to teach them how to look after themselves, and especially boys, because boys don't tend to know these things, and men
Yeah.
especially. So I kind of incorporated into their lifestyle, and they're a big part of my inspiration, my creation. I bring my samples home and I tell them, okay, smell this and try this, and what do you think of this? Um, so they're very much involved in the creative process as well.
Oh, I love that. And okay, yeah, I was gonna say that, boys. I definitely need your healing balm because my son comes home. I don't know if it's like he's just accident prone. It's like there's a scab here, there's a something.
Yeah.
There's always something. So I don't know. At the end of the year, there might be 365 little marks. So anyway, so I'm definitely thinking of
I'm definitely, I'll send
getting
you
that.
some for sure.
Yeah. Thank you. Look, so I want to go back to what you were saying about the misconception of, these natural products and everybody putting a label on it, which I think is completely bizarre. Because, like you were saying, and I think it's just important for us to just basically put this out there for everyone to really understand is that when people are creating, this is not a makeup. It's not makeup. It's not your foundation. It's basically what is supposed to be helping the inside of your skin.
Exactly.
This
It's
is not to
food for your
cover up.
skin.
It's
Exactly.
food
It's
for
food
your
for your
skin.
skin. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's
And
sort of the
so,
ideas that, yeah, it brings your skin back to its natural health.
yes. I mean, I love that. So let me get back now into it. So tell me where you're stocking your product, and how has it been when you introduced it into the industry? What was the uptake? What is the feedback that you're getting? Because, you know, um, I think.
That's a really interesting question actually, because when I first started the company 5 years ago, conscious consumerism didn't really exist. It was a
Mm,
very small number of people that really understood the damages of plastic, the damages of plastic, of water in plastic bottles, the damages of processed foods, you know. And so when I started my journey, I think people just didn't understand what I was trying to do here. But now, 5 years later, you can see this massive awareness that's all of a sudden lit up the world of like, oh, okay, I should think about what I'm putting on my skin, or I should think about what I'm eating, or I should work out, or I should meditate. Mindfulness, taking care of ourselves. So the penny literally dropped this year. So I'm grateful for the time coming, but also I feel like a large part of the community in Kenya have been so used to shopping abroad for skincare. And so shopping the big brand names, Clinique, Estee Lauder, you don't really trust anything else except these big companies, which is fair enough because there
that's
hasn't really been local options. So
yeah,
during COVID, when actually we didn't have access to that international shipping or those options, a lot of people started coming to me to say, I'm so glad that I've got an alternative, a local alternative to come to. So that was a plus point for me. And actually I kind of relaunched my company during COVID,
yeah,
for the same reason that I was promoting, self-love, care at home, and giving people ideas on how to look after themselves while you're in this crazy phenomenal time of our lives.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so that was one thing. But I'll tell you what, this year Gen Z has just given me so much hope because I feel like the generation from me and above are still very stuck to what they use and they don't trust anything else and they're very hard to convert. But
yeah.
Gen Z are incredible because they don't care that it's called the Natural Moms Company. They just understand if it's a good product, they will use it. And so this has been phenomenal because all of a sudden, I feel like I've got access to a new market space.
I love
You
that.
know,
Yes, and there are no barriers. There's no, oh, because it's an American brand. I feel like we need to put a little bit more faith into what is made in our country, because what people don't realize, and I'm not going to say that people don't realize it, but I think we know it, we just don't trust it, is that Africa, is we're the biggest resource center. This is where everybody, when we're pushing
exactly.
sustainability, when we're pushing on ingredients, everybody comes to Africa to source
The
all of these
minerals, exactly.
ingredients. Yeah.
Exactly. And
So,
one of the biggest challenges is that all of these raw materials and resources, especially essential oils that are produced in Kenya, which we use for our products, are produced for export only. So one of the reasons my products are expensive is because my resources are expensive, because everything Kenya is producing for export only. So I, as a local Kenyan, have to buy those essential oils at export pricing, which is
It's crazy.
insane.
That is crazy. I mean, this is a place where you want to come back and say, are we really looking at ourselves and saying, like, oh, yeah, if you're going to make this, the only way that you can have it or have the ingredients at a local price is if you export only.
Yeah,
That's basically
exactly.
what you're coming back to say, which I just think is that's ludicrous. But that is insane. I'm still at the mindset
Which
of export only pricing. Um, yeah,
which is one
madness.
of the reasons that led to this little baby behind me called the Artisanal Gallery.
Oh, can we talk? Okay, wait. Let's first finish about your beautiful brand. Okay, wait. So we can definitely get you online. Um,
Yes,
are
I've
you
got a
so
website. There's plenty of information on my website. It's just www.thenaturalmomcompany.com.
okay?
So you can find us
And
online. You can access on Instagram. You can access us at my shop, the Artisanal Gallery. We're stocked in Green Spoon
okay,
online. We're stocked at Pink Skink, the merchants at Galleria Mall and the Junction. We're
okay.
stocked at what else? I think that's pretty much our main stockist.
Okay, so Green Spoon, Pink Skink. I love Pink Skink. She always has like I always just feel like she always likes to curate the things that people never really think about. And so she's always like on my mind sometimes when I'm thinking of giftings and stuff. Anyway, so kudos and a hello to Pink Skink. Um okay, so Green Spoon
We're
being one
stocked.
of the
We're
biggest.
yeah. Sorry, we're also
Go
stocked
ahead.
at the Urban Brand Store in Nanyuki.
Oh, fantastic. So you have a whole other different market there, which appreciated a lot. Okay. Um, tell me about the artisanal gallery, um, and how that came about, because I love your store. Love it.
Thank you, thank you. It's a product of love between. So my best friend from Hillcrest and I, Krista, we started a company. One of the main things behind opening up the Artisanal Gallery was my experience in the Natural Moms Company. So as I looked for distributorship around Kenya for the Natural Moms Company, I realized, and also from my real estate background, I realized it was completely unsustainable for a small brand like myself to have a nice little shop at Village Market. Um, and the pricing of that, it just I would not, as a small business, would not be able to sustain myself without
Yeah.
heavy investment. So what we did at the Artisanal Gallery was we created a platform where small business artisanal brands we could all share the risk amongst ourselves to have this incredible location in Market Gigiri area right behind the US Embassy, to have a
Yeah.
visible commercial platform for us to display our products.
Hmm.
And so the gallery is a platform that houses over 80 artisanal brands from within Africa and now outside, for artisanal luxury brands.
I love it. I think what so do you feel that, like, on a scope of how we present all of these artisanal brands, do you feel like we don't give or pay much attention and give them the match valued, you know, I don't know what the
Display.
word is, that we don't, yeah, like we don't treat them the way that they should be treated. And I feel like you guys are doing that for a lot of the artisanal brands that you guys are stocking.
Well, naturally, because I think being in Kenya, we've been overexposed to things from the Maasai market. We feel it's ingrained as part of our upbringing in our livelihood as just to be a roadside product. But when people come
Hmm.
outside of Kenya and visit Kenya, they look at these products with a different perspective, and they love and they see the value in these handcrafted products. And I,
Right.
growing up, would, when I went to university in the States, I would obviously go and I would buy so many gifting items for my friends and take back, and they would just be in awe of the art, of the handcraft stuff that I would bring back. And so, um, fast forward, 2021, at
Mm-hmm.
that time, and especially after COVID, there was a massive boom of these artisanal products in the market,
Mm-hmm.
because everyone
Yeah.
jumped into trying to create something or the other to survive. And
Yeah.
some of the stuff that came out just blew my mind. And it just needed the right way to be displayed. It needed the right care. It needed the right touch. It needed the right lighting, and it needed the right platform to be elevated to actually the kind of value that it really holds. Because artisanal products, the handmade craft that is so ancient to all of us from everywhere in the world that we come from, is the authentic energy that goes into that piece of art, from the maker itself, makes it that special. That imperfection is why it is such a beautiful piece of art. And this is why I feel like, when you wear a handmade piece of clothing, it embodies the energy of the person that's made it with all that love and all that care. And that is really what you're wearing. That's the energy that you're carrying around you. And so, we we strive ourselves in curating and doing the visual merchandising for these kind of products, because we believe in them. We believe in that they are the actual luxury of the world, and we are trying to tell people that luxury doesn't mean a stamped logo that comes out of a factory in China. That is absolutely no value to me, because the only way that you can access that product is
Yeah.
is based on your income level. And that's it.
Absolutely.
It has nothing to do with you as a stylist or as a creative, or how you're going to put that cloth around you or that scarf around you and style it. And where's the versatility, and where's the styling, and where's the creativity behind how you want to express yourself. There's no creativity
Exactly.
in that. I mean, maybe initially there was when these companies started off, but
Mm.
now they're just made in factories with zero energy. So
Yeah.
that's where sort of my belief system lies.
You're so passionate about this. I'm like, I was just listening to you, and it's something that part of the slow fashion concept really is people putting their time, their energy, their hands. This is where luxury starts. It's exactly
Exactly.
what you were doing. It's like where the people are picking the hibiscus. It's the people who are picking the purple tea. It is the people who are putting their life, their energy into a product. It is the
Exactly.
5 women who were sitting making this beautiful jumpsuit that, or whatever it is. That's what makes it luxurious, and that's what people need to understand in terms of, yeah, it's not about how big of a factory and how big the store is and what the lighting looks like. No, you have to do the back end. You have to understand the storyline, and if you're even lucky, you get to hear the person's name, the person who made your
Exactly.
jumpsuit you
And let's
know
not forget that, fast fashion is one of the biggest
it
pollutants
is
in
the
the
biggest.
world today. And
Yeah.
so what we're trying to promote here is buy less, buy better
Yeah.
quality, and
Absolutely.
buy versatility, so you're able to wear that one piece over and over again for the rest of your life and have it as a piece of art. So reduce consumption, reduce consumerism, and focus on, if we have 10 pieces of this jacket, that's all we have. And this also
Exactly.
promotes innovation within the makers themselves. So what next? How are we going to
Exactly.
create more? What are we going to create with? Using natural fibers, something that is completely circular in the economy, sustainable, so that even when it goes back into the earth, it's not damaging to the earth.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about that. I feel like you and I need another session, to just basically
Yeah,
dive into this, and I'm just excited for everything that you guys are doing. I feel like I need to come and we could do a tour together and show everybody some of these products. so that you could highlight some of your artisans, and we could have them on, and have a beautiful chat
Absolutely.
about their
I would love
products and
that.
their back end. So we're like, okay, this is a conversation definitely for an upcoming conversation. We can figure out the dates.
100%.
And
Yeah.
and also to anybody who's listening, either now or going to be logging in later on, August 19th, Neha and Krista, the Artisanal Gallery, are part of my roundtable talks. I'm super excited to host you guys. I think we've got so much to talk about, our positioning of luxury brands, and how we need to be seen. So I want for everybody to come out and support. I'll be releasing the posters by tomorrow for sure, and I'm just really excited. So Neha, I'm I'm humbled to have spoken to you. I'm so proud of you as a woman in business, as an African woman, as a Indian descended woman, of descent of India, to have brought in some of your traditions and had the idea to share it with a global space, and to really just not even look at color, because color is so 1986. Please, can we just stop about looking at something like,
Yes.
oh my God,
Yes.
stop it,
Exactly.
And so I'm so proud of you. As a woman, you inspire me. And that's the reason why
Thank you
I
so much,
started
Linda.
my podcast. It is to inspire other people. And I hope you get inspired if you're listening in. I hope we get to collaborate with FedEx, Neha, because I feel like your brand needs to be out there. It needs to be on a global
100%.
space, and it needs to be loved. And we're going to talk about how you and FedEx we could join into this family. So I just want to say,
Absolutely.
actually, way ahead of time, and we're just going to claim it. Welcome on board.
Perfect. Let's start
Yeah,
manifesting.
exactly,
Great. Thank you
exactly.
so much for
So
having me on this platform, Linda. I'm very humbled and thank you. Honestly, thank you so much.
you're most welcome. Again, FedEx, thank you for powering our conversation. We understand as a logistics partner how important you are to our businesses and how convenient you make it for us. We are excited about all the platforms that you are creating, especially on a sustainable platform. We can't wait to hear about your developments within the industry. I know you've got a couple of things that are being lined up for the African market, which is like your FDX. We're looking for that market space to be launched in Africa. And and thank you for hosting us here. We're just going to take you around the world one more time before we close the show.
Thank you, Linda.
Ladies and gentlemen, Neha from the Natural Moms Company, thank you so very much. And we will see you next time, next Thursday at around the same time. I hope. We'll see which guests we have. You just have to look out and listen in. Thank you so much, Neha. Have a beautiful and wonderful Friday.